did it. Welcome, everybody. Week 13 in the books, but welcome back to Fantasy Rush. My name is Mike.
I'm Steve.
And hopefully you got a W this week. If not, oh well, it was probably Steve's fault because he told you to sit Marcus Mariota.
Yes, okay, I was wrong, okay? I said sit Mariota.
And he went nuts.
Hey, man, I thought the Jaguars were going to actually play good defense.
Good defense doesn't constitute falling all over the field while Mariota runs 83 yards for a touchdown.
I was wrong.
Anyways.
But I was wrong. I'm just going to say
wrong.
that. I just want to know, though. I have a question. How did the Lions do, man?
I was wrong. I was wrong. The Packers put a kibosh on the Lions' playoff hopes. But you know what? I moved on.
Do you want
to Lions get to play spoiler now.
Do you want to go say a Hail Mary?
No. Lions get to play spoiler now. They have a couple of decent games with some teams that still have some playoff chances.
I'm done with this whole Lion talk. They're officially eliminated from the playoffs, so no more Lion talk from here on out.
All right. Let's move on. Till next week. Johnny Football back in football discussion world as he gets his third chance at trying to prove that he's not a party animal, drunk.
Johnny, whatever. It doesn't matter, man. Cleveland's
going to suck. They're losing. Travis Benjamin's hurt. They have no running game. Right now, they're putting Johnny Manziel out there to put butts in the seats. But
that's it.
Get rid of him.
Yeah, that's it. Don't pick him up. If you pick him up, you must be in a 25 team, just deep, 2 quarterback. And even then, I wouldn't pick him up.
No. Carolina's
still good.
Rolling. Cam Newton, Super Cam, 5 touchdowns this week. I mean, the guy's ridiculous. He's a monster. He's a Superman, Super Cam. He's the real deal.
Hey, newsflash, people. Carolina's good.
And
they're good.
They're undefeated. And all roads to the Super Bowl look like they're going to lead through Carolina as they're going to run the NFC and get probably home field throughout.
So, I mean, Cam, obviously, he's good. Feel comfortable. He has pretty good playoff matchups. Yeah. Against the Falcons and then at New York. So, start him.
And
every week.
Speaking of the Falcons, lose 5 in a row?
Yeah.
And now they got Carolina 2 times in the last few games.
Yeah, that's going to be 6 in a row losing.
Yeah. Falcons are hurting their chances at any kind of playoff run.
Look, we saw this last year. They were really, really bad. Their defense was horrible. This year, their pass defense has actually been pretty good, but they still can't stop anybody.
They had a surge. I mean, Devonta Freeman came out of nowhere and is the leading running back in the league. Julio Jones is one of the top receivers in the league. Their quarterback is one of the worst in the league. You cannot go anywhere if your quarterback is giving the ball to the other team, and that's the way the Falcons go.
Yeah, if you have Julio Jones, you're praying that Matt Ryan is not gonna fumble it, gonna throw it to the other team.
Well, and you're hoping these last few weeks that Norman is gonna have trouble covering him because
that's not gonna happen.
If Norman is as shut down as he's been this year, you're in real trouble if you got Julio Jones on your team.
I mean, you're going to start him. He's still the number 1 receiver in fantasy.
I hope for 10, 15 points, maybe a touchdown in the red zone. But
you're going to start him, but you're just not. You're not you're not that confident as you were in the beginning of the year.
Yeah. And with confidence, Seattle is surging. Their confidence is like.
I think right now
12.
They probably feel like they did last year because this year they've been pretty bad. They've been up and down. They can't win away from Seattle. Yeah, they won against a very good team, the Vikings. Yeah. They shut down Adrian Peterson. So Baldwin's been balling 3 of the last 4 weeks, 19+ points. Russell Wilson finally, he's living up to his third overall quarterback drafted, 25 points each of the last 3 weeks. And Rawls, I mean, what can you say? This guy is an undrafted rookie, free agent.
It's my boy.
Out
of Central Michigan.
Marshawn Lynch, everybody's like, he's beast mode. But this year, he hasn't been so beast mode. He's been
He's been weak mode.
Weak mode, yeah.
But, I mean, Rawls has stepped into that offense. He loves that offense. Pete Carroll loves to get him the ball. He's playing great football, and he's putting up huge numbers and huge points. Yeah. So when Lynch comes back, is Carroll going to keep a split timeshare backfield, or is Rawls or is Lynch going to take the majority?
Rawls has almost 400 yards the last 3 weeks. but we've seen this before.
Yeah.
He got to start earlier in the year. I think he started 2 or 3 games in a row because Marshawn Lynch was hurt again. But as soon as Marshawn Lynch came back, nothing. Not even 5 carries, I think, in any of those games that Marshawn Lynch starts.
Well,
that's what I'm worried about. And I think it's going to happen again if Lynch does come back in time for fantasy relevance.
Yeah.
I don't think Rawls is going to get any play. I mean, as great as he's been.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
that's sad. Just the way it's sad that he's going to slide back to the bench, but I like Rawls. He's been fantastic.
I like him too, but
he's been fantastic to watch.
Pete Carroll just likes Marshawn Lynch better.
Jeremy Maclin has been a huge value in daily fantasy leagues these last few weeks. He's putting up great numbers.
The last 2 weeks he finally is looking like the receiver, that number 1 receiver he was last year with Philadelphia.
Yeah, and the reason that KC washed their hands of Dwayne Bowe and brought in
why even
Jeremy
Maclin
Maclin?
Dwayne Bowe?
But I mean, he's been great, and it's been he's been getting a lot of separation, a lot of space because the run game is there, even with Jamal Charles out. Charkandrick West and Spencer Ware have been creating a lot of space.
And Alex Smith. I mean, they always say he doesn't throw the. He's been throwing the ball. I mean, he has actually quite a few. I don't know the official statistic, but he has quite a few 300+ yard games this year. So you love that if you're a Jeremy Maclin owner, and he's been balling. So I like him.
Yeah. Jacksonville's been rolling too. TJ Yeldon's been doing great, but can he carry you through the playoffs? Do you play him against Indianapolis coming up this week? Do you play him against Atlanta? I think you do.
Yeah.
I think. I mean,
both of those are not. Those run defense are not going to scare you. And TJ Yeldon,
well, he's one of the.
He's one of the true 3-down backs.
Yeah.
There's nobody behind him.
He's a bell cow. He's going to carry it. He's going to catch the passes out of the backfield. He's fantastic.
Speaking of the Lions again, now we're going to talk about the Packers.
No. Eddie
Lacy, man.
In the doghouse. Missed his curfew.
I wish coaches and teams would. I mean, they got to know there's fantasy out there, right?
Just tell me that he's in
trouble. We found out after the game that I guess Eddie Lacy missed a curfew.
Well, we kept watching the game and we're like, where's Eddie Lacy? Like, I need him to do big. I need him to do good. I had him on my fantasy team, and he actually cost me the scoring title in my Yahoo league.
Oh, boo-hoo. He still won.
So if I would have started any of my other running backs, I would have ended up with the scoring title. But, titles...
Eddie Lacy, after 2 straight weeks having really solid numbers, he once again
he found a way to shoot himself in the foot. I mean, he's either injured or he's too fat and too slow.
Yeah.
But she says he's not missing a step, or he's missing curfews.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me. It's going to be hard for me to trust him in the fantasy playoffs. No. I would look elsewhere. And then maybe if he has a good week, then you start him if you can make it to the next round.
Well, and with Eddie Lacy, I mean, if you got him in the first or second round, if you're in a keeper league or a dynasty league, do you keep him?
Oh, absolutely, you keep him. In dynasty league,
you think?
Keeper, yeah, you keep him.
I don't know if I'm willing to give up a first-round pick for him. I don't think he's going to be in that category next year, especially if he continues in the doghouse.
Well, look, if he loses 20 pounds in the offseason, then you keep him. You got to
wait and see
approach.
So with all that said, all these guys, that brings us to my favorite part of the show.
Start that fool. So, Mike, first up, we have Tyrod Taylor at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Man, they did a number on New England this week. I don't think that the Eagles are that good to continue that role. So, Tyrod Taylor, I think he's going to feast. Start that fool.
I agree. Start that fool. I hate Philadelphia. Next up, Javorius Allen. He's been balling, but he's going against Seattle.
Seattle's defense is fantastic, but Javorius Allen is the offense there. So you have to start him if you have him. Hopefully you have a better option. If you don't, I think Allen's going to be somewhere in the mid-range. If you got a better option, start that fool instead. But, Javorius Allen's going to be a shaky start. But
you're saying start that fool.
I start him. Yeah.
Look, Seattle just shut down AP.
But I'm nervous.
They just shut down AP. However, I think this offense is a little different.
Yeah.
I say start him. Not because rushing. I think he can get some dump-off passes.
Yeah.
Kind of D'Angelo Williams type of game.
Yeah.
So I say start him too. TJ Yeldon versus the Indianapolis Colts.
We already told you guys to start that fool in the last segment. Go rewind. Watch it.
Start that fool. I agree. Jameis Winston versus that tough Saints defense.
Yeah, right. Tough. Start that fool. Hopefully you have a playoff matchup this week in Week 14 where you can pick them up and use them. I don't. In my Yahoo league, in my work league, I'm going to try and pick them up. But
I say you start them too.
Start them.
Start the backup. Start the running back. No, I'm just kidding.
New Orleans.
Start everybody. New Orleans
has been bleeding points to fantasy players. So start them.
And then we talked about this guy a little bit earlier.
Yep.
Thomas Rawls
at Baltimore.
Start him.
Yeah.
They just shut down Lamar Miller.
Don't matter. Start him. Lamar Miller has been getting shut down by lesser teams. So
yeah, I say start him too. I mean, he. I think again the offense is rolling. Start him.
Yep. Absolutely. So now that we've done start that fool, this week we're gonna give you some would you rather's with some guys that might be on the waiver wire, some guys might be on your teams, but you definitely had
these guys aren't on the waiver wire. I would go get them right now.
You have a shot at some of these guys. They've been late season pickups. So, Mr. Steven, Blake Bortles versus Osweiler. Which one?
Osweiler - Manning? Is that what?
Which one would you rather have coming up this week? Bortles is playing Indianapolis. Osweiler is facing Oakland. They're both at home.
Yeah.
So, potential for big games. Who would you rather start this week?
Look, Osweiler has been filling in nicely for Peyton Manning. Actually, he's done better than Peyton Manning. But I'm going with Bortles, man. I mean, he has Allen Robinson. That dude's he's been like a top, I think, 7 quarterback all year. Yeah. Definitely Bortles.
Bortles for sure. Calvin Johnson or Doug Baldwin?
Wow.
Calvin
Johnson.
You have old faithful Calvin Johnson and emerging Doug Baldwin.
Is this really a question on here?
Johnson is playing St. Louis, who has pretty good pass defense. Or Doug Baldwin at Baltimore. Is Doug Baldwin gonna feast on those corners, those injured corners?
It's sad that this is even a topic because Calvin Johnson's been the top receiver for ages now.
Yeah, but this year
Doug Baldwin's been balling out, and the Seattle defense is rolling. But I say start. I mean, you got to start Calvin Johnson. I think he's going to have a nice game. He had an okay game last week.
This is for a lot of those viewers who might have both of them, seeing Doug Baldwin surging, and Calvin Johnson is still faithful. But who do you take a shot on?
Oh, definitely Calvin Johnson for me.
So, all right, and then Javorius Allen versus Sean Drone.
Javorius Allen had a huge. That whole offense scored 15 points. Baltimore did. Mm-hmm. He had 23 fantasy points in standard league. I think in our league he had 30 because we had a little custom league.
Some shaky points.
He was the offense.
Yeah.
However, Sean Drone has had at least 10 fantasy points in each of the last 3 weeks, and they're facing Cleveland. I go Sean Drone on this one.
No, absolutely. I agree. Sean Drone, with Javorius Allen, like we said, he's playing Seattle. It's going to be kind of a shaky game, but Drone hopefully will be feasting on Cleveland, in Cleveland.
He should.
So, and then, some tight ends, Scott Chandler
versus Gary Barnidge.
Gary Barnidge.
Barnyard dog or whatever they call him.
Well, with Johnny Manziel coming back, playing that old school football, if Travis Benjamin is injured and going to miss a little bit of time, Barnidge, pretty much becomes that offense.
I like Barnidge also because Gronk might be back.
Yeah.
So Chandler has still some value, but he's going to kind of be touchdown dependent if Gronk is there. So yeah. I would roll Barnidge. He's been reliable all season, so
yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
Go Barnidge.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. Week 13.
Week 13 in the books. Waiting for Week 14. Some of you have those playoff matchups. Make sure you send us all your questions. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FantasyRushLATV. If you have any questions you want to send via email, fantasyrush@latv.com. You're already watching the YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Share with your friends. Let everybody know. Watch the Fantasy Guys. Fantasy Rush, LATV. Check out the other videos. We got some funny stuff on there. And until next time, I'm Steve.
And I'm Mike.
See ya.
Good luck.